You guys really don't know when it's good or bad when it comes right down to it. You really don't know because you don't know what we're trying to do. You guys don't look at the films. You don't know what happened. You really don't know. You think you know, but you don't know, and you never will.
To come home because I have a very special love.
The media public doesn't know. You guys don't know. Sometimes it won't. I can tell you it won't be good, and you'll see it won't be good. Sometimes you'll think it's good, and it isn't any good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was pretty darn good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was bad. But basically, you really don't know.
Week one of our favorite time of the year, the fantasy football season, has begun and will almost ended here. We're watching kind of the final portions of the Seahawks-Broncos game. Most of the fantasy matchups we see here have been decided already. I'm pretty fortunate to start off with a win this week. Looks like that's mostly due to the fact that I was playing Kellen. Little to do with the performance of my own team. You guys were pretty early on Dunchain and Kellen this week. Starting right off the bat here, is there anyone you want to Dunchain to begin the show? We'll start with you, Wally.
A little too early for me to Dunchain, but Watt Ben is really treading close. Looking through this roster, still maintaining these got shit running backs, and CeeDee Lamb's quarterback's out, and Kyle Pitts put up a stinker. We'll get to that later, though.
Fair enough. So not quite ready to do it, but thinking about it. Schmity,
very much
anybody you're willing to pull the trigger? You were kind of the initial guy to pull the trigger on Kellen there for us in week one.
Yeah, so I'm 1 for 1. So I'm gonna cool the Jets this week because I already slammed one home last week. So find out next week. I think there's one guy, Ben's team clearly on the chopping block, and so let's see how he shakes out next week.
I got a couple done chains for this week. One is student loans got done chained. Forgot to do that week one. So that was a good momentous occurrence for the start of the year. And then also Nick Larson's sobriety also done chained. So we got both of those things going for us. Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, cheers to Nick.
Yeah.
Pour one out.
Cheers.
So that's what I got for done chain this week. Moving towards our fantasy matchups and so forth.
The season
Can't end like that for Nick, huh? We got a couple matchups we want to go through, looking at what transpired this week. Let's take a peek over at... Oh, it defaulted back to my game. I want to start off with someone other than myself here. So let's look at Ben J versus Kirk. It looks like Ben J has this one wrapped up. Obviously, his name here's JJ, his first pick, Justin Jefferson, had quite a week against our Packers there.
Yeah, so he was my top performer of the week, and I mean he just diced us up. I mean, what he had 150 yards going into the second half. I mean, so the production's going to be there all year. Touchdowns already. He had 9 receptions. I think he had 11 targets. So it's a great pick. And Ben typically has good teams since I've been around, and I don't think anything's going to be different this year. Especially when you got Justin on your team.
He's been a pretty consistent performer. If we're going around with our Schmitties and Chads, your Chad of the week is JJ. Do you have a Schmitty for us?
Schmitty is easily, he's actually on the Dunchain team. Kellen decided to grab Cam Akers, and that's working out handsomely for him. Solid 0.0 points on the week. That's just spelling his impending doom. He's fucked. He's fucked to the rest of the year. He looked awful. He looked so slow. That is not a guy you want to start every week.
He looked bad.
Yeah, his Achilles was done chained last year, and it hasn't come back, unfortunately, for Cam. I was thinking with the quick turnaround that maybe there was some hope for him, but, yeah, that was a rough week one performance. Who do you have for your performance of the week, your Chat of the week here, Wally?
So Chat of the week, I went with a homer. Just flat out Pat Mahomes. Dude's a baller. Loses Tyreek and just shits on Arizona.
Yeah, he went
Pretty
off.
pretty straightforward for that one.
Kelsey looked pretty good in typical form as well. Interesting, Ben made note of it, Ben J in the chat, that he went with Mark Andrews there over Travis Kelsey. That's looking a little bit suspect here currently, but long season, a lot to be determined. But it doesn't look like Travis Kelsey is running into an age problem or anything like that.
No.
And then
Not
who
yet.
was your Schmitty of the week?
My Schmitty of the week. Let's see here. What did I take? Oh, I took Kyle Pitts because what was he drafted? Third round or fourth round? Either way,
Third round.
two catches for 26, I think. It's a little, I don't know, disappointing. And Ben's team we're hammering him early here, but I think it's fair. That was a really bad performance.
I think there's room for optimism for Kyle Pitts, though. Unlike, a Cam Akers or something like that, less optimistic about his chances moving forward. But
Yep.
Pitts got a lot of targets, and actually the Atlanta offense was better overall than I maybe would have anticipated. So they put some points up. Cordero Patterson sure had a heck of a week. I think they had an injury at running back there, so he got more targets than maybe we thought, or more rushing attempts rather. But I better wrap around here with my Schmitties and Chads of the week. My Schmitty, my Chad is on Schmitty's team, and that is Saquon Barkley. Good to see him back. He's kind of a guy that you root for, given how talented he is, and then had a rough go of it with injuries the past couple of years. But boy, did he look like a monster. I think I said it during our draft. I said he's the second most talented and physically gifted running back in the league. My opinion at that time was that Christian McCaffrey is the most physically gifted. No, Saquon is number one. He's the most gifted running back in the league, and he showed it. And I think they're just going to feed him. He got like 8 targets out of the backfield. He was a workhorse, and he delivered. And somehow the Giants beat the Titans. Unfortunately, my boy, Kadarius Toney, was only on the field for like 7 snaps, so that was a little bit concerning. He looked really good in those snaps, but I'm concerned early on. And then on the other side of things, my Chad for the week, or my Schmitty for the week. I'm really getting my Schmitties and Chads mixed up. That bodes well. I guess that's a compliment to the resident Schmitty here. But no, my Schmitty of the week was on my own team, Mike Williams. I was looking for big things out of him, talking a lot of trash about getting him where I did in the draft. And after Keenan Allen gets hurt, I expected a lot of targets to be coming his way. It didn't happen. He had like 14 or something air yards, and if you add up all the yards of all the targets that he was given, it was like 14 air yards. So that was not impressive. Came away with like 2 catches or something like that. But he's got a chance to bounce back right away here on Thursday night, so hoping he can do that. And I still have some room for optimism for him as well, but yikes, rough week 1 there. Jumping back to our matchups here.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
see.
I did have one thought there.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Schmitty said something about Ben J always having good teams, which is fairly accurate. But one thing we're discounting is his pure fucking luck factor in everything. It seems to be all the time. So Kirk's losing by 8 point something. Our old boy Jamal Williams had 2 1-yard rushing touchdowns. Swift could have had an even bigger day, and Dak gets hurt in a game where they're chasing points. So probably just missed out on a bunch of yards for Kirk, and that's 8 points is not that much. So let's crown Ben J. Kirk got kind of screwed there. Oh, Elijah Mitchell out, and he had like 6 carries for 40 yards or something like that.
He was
good
off to a
start
big
there.
start.
Griffey with that matchup. I mean, it's
Yeah. Obviously losing Dak too, that in and of itself
Yeah.
could have been the game. Who does Kirk have? I can't scroll down here on my screen. Who does he have as a backup or as an option to replace Dak?
He'll be searching the waiver wire. He has no quarterback on his
Zero
bench.
QB and kind of a gross setup for replacing Mitchell in the flex too.
That's true. Yeah, he's gonna have his work cut out for him. Thankfully, quarterback and Often tight end, you can find some serviceable guys when you're dealing with stuff like this. But with Elijah Mitchell going down, it looks like Khalil Herbert would be the play. Robbie Anderson, I mean, we're talking flex, so he at least will be able to ride out Elijah Mitchell's injury if it's going to be 2 months. But what you worry with his injury is what he's going to look like when he returns. And then Kirk's dealing with, am I starting Mitchell this week? Am I not? And I think that's what's going to catch him up come November.
Yeah, in terms of filling Robbie Anderson in there, interesting after, 1 week with Baker Mayfield, he had quite the performance. He's had years where he looked like he could really be something, and then he's disappeared for long stretches depending on the quarterback, and obviously wasn't impressive last year, but who knows? Maybe he'll be back to kind of his old self. It would be quite an upturning of things if he ended up being, kind of the guy ahead of DJ Moore there. I don't know if I'm going to go out on a limb and predict that, but crazier things have happened. Hats off to Ben J. Good win this week. Let's see who else we can go through here. Looking at Schmity versus Tripod. Yikes, Tripod. I mean, yikes. Darnell Mooney was on a short list of candidates for my Schmity of the week, but this was not an encouraging first week for Parker at all.
No, hopefully we can put the 4 tight end build to bed, and no one ever goes through with doing it ever again.
It's not going to be a fad, sweeping the fantasy football nation here. No, I don't think so.
Oh, very disappointing week for him. The biggest thing is somehow the Lions scored 5 touchdowns and Hawkinson got 5.4. That's disappointing for him because that's a potential difference maker. The rest of his team is Montgomery got 26 yards in a game that was pure shit. The field was destroyed, and they were going to Herbert, so that's a little concerning there. And then Najee, honestly, they're not really saying much about the injury, but it's potentially an ankle sprain or high ankle sprain.
It sounds like they were optimistic about it. I was hearing some of the stuff I read today that there's a good chance he plays this week.
Yeah, that's Monday optimism, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll
see what his practice
actually
log
playing
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will call out one little upside with how high I was on ETN. James Robinson looks very serviceable, and I would expect our friend Parker to be starting him week in, week out until those looks start dwindling. But that would be a guy I would insert into the flex immediately.
Yeah, bad news for the resident WAP, who we'll get to here before too long as well. He's already thin at running back, and you're right, ETN was not super impressive there. How about on your squad there, Schmitty? Breece Hall, what did you think of the rookie's first week performance there? I didn't get a chance to watch much of them.
I didn't get to watch really any of the game, but having a fumble already is an incredibly bad mark to have on your resume to start the year, especially when you have another guy that's like equal right now. And I'm sorry, I can't even think of his name.
Michael Carter.
The other Michael Carter,
yeah.
Thank you. So I put a lot of stock into Breece Hall. I drafted him in the 4th round, and definitely need him to produce. And if we don't see that, he's definitely someone to be questionable in the flex going forward.
Yeah.
How about Michael Thomas, to ask you about one more guy in your squad there? I'm kind of kicking myself already for not drafting him instead of Rashad Bateman. Maybe he'll get hurt. Maybe he'll, go back to being a high ankle sprain boy or something like that for the next 3 years. Always a possibility. But boy, did he look good back out there in week 1.
Yeah, I sure hope he can stay away from the injury bug. I mean, 2 touchdowns, right? Like that's what you're looking for in like a less than half-point PPR league. Like touchdowns, like that's going to win you leagues. And already seeing that production is incredibly promising. Having Jameis Winston as quarterback, like he's going to air the ball out. There's no question. Like Thomas is going to get some of those maybe questionable throws his way, and that, I mean, as a Michael Thomas owner, you're absolutely loving that. I
really hope they cut Jameis loose and we get to see a little bit more of like a Tampa Bay type of Jameis because, it's fun when they let him just throw the ball around the yard. They really had him under, tight wraps last year. So we'll have to see if that turns out. Let's sneak a peek across to the next matchup here. Looks like Tommy Smokes and Science Deniers. Josh Allen, huge for Larson in week 1, but despite that, his running back situation didn't really allow him to compete with you in this one here, Wally. Nice surprise for Larson, though, which we talked about previously, is Antonio Gibson. He looked pretty good. He was involved in the passing game quite a bit. The absence of Brian Robinson really shot his stock through the roof. And you had a solid week, but lost Keenan Allen for a significant portion of time. He was off to a heck of a start. We didn't really see MVS hit on any of his, traditional big plays with Mahomes. And despite all that, you put up 149 points. So having Jonathan Taylor is nice, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of was expecting that. To be honest with you, I was not a Zeke person this year at all. So you guys all picked against me last week, but the one thing that was a little bit of a surprise for Larson.
Did I pick against you? Is that true?
Yeah, I think everyone picked against me, but
I couldn't have possibly done that.
Christian Kirk, like maybe everyone's making fun of him for getting his huge deal, but he was an explosive guy in Arizona, and he was like 6 for 120 on there. So that could be something good going forward for Larson as well.
I mean, the number one target for Lawrence down the stretch last year was Laquan Treadwell. So certainly a step up for Trevor Lawrence, and yeah, maybe there's some synergy that's long-lasting between those guys. And they sure paid him like they want to use him quite a bit, you're right.
Yeah, they paid him handsomely, and that maybe caused some shake-up with Tyreek and Devontae, who looked good. A lot better than anything we had. I'm sure you guys covered that in the Packers corner, though.
Yeah, wasn't an optimistic, sort of a rainbows and lollipops type of a take on the Packers receiving core there.
Yeah,
Understandable.
Looking at Larson's team, so he's going to take the loss this week, but he would have beat 6 or 7 other teams. I really like Nick's build, and I think we all pretty much came away with the same feeling last week that we. So nothing to knock him. He just had a fantastic week. The only blunder is that he has Adam Thielen in his starting lineup, which is the most silly thing anyone could do. But good week by Wally. Wally's the powerhouse for sure, and he showed up to play.
Coming for that points title again.
Make it, would that be the 3rd year in a row? Did you win it last year?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but cumulative, you were on the mark there. Okay, looking at our Supreme Chancellor and Screeds. Derek getting it done. Jerry Jeudy having a night tonight, currently playing in that Seahawks-Broncos matchup. Derek crowned himself having the pick of the draft with Derrick Henry last week. That didn't quite pan out, but he had, Derrick Henry type of a day. If he finds the end zone a couple times, it's a monster day. But overall, just a lot of consistency. But the guy that really was a pleasant surprise for Derek was Kareem Hunt, of course. I don't know that he is better than Nick Chubb, like some folks were saying in the group chat, but he was able to find that end zone where Chubb wasn't there.
Yeah, Derek should be kissing my feet as I told him to pull Godwin and put in Jeudy. So you're welcome, Derek. Congratulations for the win.
How about Christian McCaffrey? Did you guys have a chance to watch him at all?
Yeah, they didn't use him. They were bitching. What's the guy's name? McAdoo, the Giants' old coach that started their huge downfall, is their O coordinator. So
oh, God.
Lack of usage for him was a big topic on a couple of the fantasy pods I listened to today.
Yeah, that guy just absolutely has to have like 20 to 25 touches just to start your game plan. Like, that's built in.
I would agree. I don't know if they're maybe trying to play it safe and keep him healthy. What's the point? Their coach is going to get canned if they don't make the playoffs, probably. So Might as well use him. And I guess the one thing I'll say, I was not high on AJ Brown coming into this year, and he looked like very good. I was gonna
He
say
looks like a
something else,
man
but
amongst boys out there.
I'll
He's
keep it
just
PG.
he's so big for a wide receiver, and yeah, he's an impressive guy. Really encouraging for Jalen Hurts too. He looks like he's got a chance to be just a solid quarterback with a chance to be an upper echelon top 5 type of a guy too. But the running just gives him such a comfortable floor there, even if it's a tough day through the air, which it was not against the Lions there in week 1. But Kamish going to start off with a win. He didn't find his way into the playoffs last year, so a little bit of room for optimism for him.
Well, that's
after
not a
1 week.
complete lock.
I say it would be really sweet. We're just giving the win to Supreme Chancellor, and
You think
he
Rashad
ends up
Penny's
losing.
gonna? I mean, it's only
it's not
like
crazy.
13 points. Yeah, it's
Sutton needs a
possible.
touchdown. Sutton
got
needs a
Sutton.
touchdown,
Oh,
and
he's
we got ourselves a
2
game.
guys, doesn't he? I was just seeing Rashad
Yeah.
Penny on there. No,
Yeah,
this is
it's not over.
You're right. The ESPN odds are so poor sometimes. 6% chance, right? It's literally just like one of those guys getting
One
a
play.
touchdown,
A
and
Sutton
it gets
over
close
100
in a
and
hurry.
touchdown,
Yeah,
and it's turned.
yeah. So 6% seems a little bit absurd there.
DK Metcalf just fumbled.
Oh, thank God! I thought you were going to say that he scored a touchdown or something. I'm playing against him, and I don't think my game's quite wrapped up yet.
It'll be close. They'll review that for sure.
Here is Ben, who we alluded to earlier with his running back situation. It's not good when Michael Carter, who's likely to lose ground over the course of the season, looks like his runaway number 1 running back here. Ben's obviously got some solid wide receivers with Diggs and Lamb, but Lamb did not come through this week after they lost Dak, and Dak is going to be out for a number of weeks here, so that hurts pretty badly as well. Kyle Pitts, as you talked about in the opening segment, not what we were looking for. I think Ben's team performs better than this in a couple areas, but I think it performs worse in others. So I think he's near Dunchain territory at this stage of the season. Is that crazy?
No,
Not crazy at all, especially considering you draft Dobbins in the 5th round and you draft DeAndre Hopkins in the 7th round. Like that's territory for getting your ass cut real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
And the
if
rest-
Hopkins were to have come back for somebody who had a good team, that could have been a big boost. I'm kind of glad Ben's the one that snagged him.
Yeah, but the other thing is his bench is so bad. There's not even an option for him. He has to start Pollard for the time being, or
He has
Etienne.
5 guys on the bench. That might be the first time that's ever happened in our league. 5 guys out of 7 that have 0 points.
Can you read them off for me? I can't see them with my screen. Who's he have there?
Trey Sermon, Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver out of Dallas, Cole Kmet, Hopkins, and Dobbins.
Ouch.
So yeah, he has his work cut out for him. Like he needs to be very active on the waiver wire, or he is our layup done chain next week.
When do you think Dobbins comes back, and is he going to be effective when he does?
Yes, I think he'll be effective. They're just rolling out pure shit now, so he's got to be better than Mike Davis and a washed Kenyon Drake.
Stirs the drink. No, even
started
with
2 years
even
ago.
when he does come back, right? Like ACL, like he doesn't just immediately take all the touches. So when you take a guy in the 5th round, like he needs to make shit happen, and if he doesn't, again, you lose fantasy drafts from picks rounds 3 to 7, and if you perform poorly there, I mean you're as good as done.
Nick Chubb and Cooper Kupp led the way for the reigning champion. Kupp, the best wide receiver in the NFL, or Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson. It's close, but Justin Jefferson gets the nod, and I just think he'll be more prominent in the offense. Not saying that Cooper Kupp won't. Like it's like 1A, 1B. I like even in the draft, like no one could like make an argument and tell me they're picking one guy over the other, and like I would still go to bat for the other guy. Like it was that close.
Yeah, I'll take JJ. Jim's team is actually pretty solid. I think we said that last week too. But like Juju's not that bad. I think we had maybe a slight overreaction of a reach there. He's gonna get a shitload of targets. He's six
You were
for
one of the guys that were okay with
79.
Juju, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Six for
okay with him
79, and he didn't. I'm assuming that he didn't get any red zone stuff because Kelsey did, and then the other Fortson, guy that never heard of, tight end. So if he gets any type of red zone looks and gets to like 8 tutties, that's going to be a solid value for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Juju's going to be fine. My takeaway from Jim's team was that he drafted a lot of guys that I liked, but I felt like he, maybe reached a bit for them. It doesn't matter if they hit if you reach for them. So to Jim's defense there, ended up with some interesting players. How's Javonte look tonight? What's the split been there with Melvin Gordon tonight?
Probably about the same as last year, honestly.
They gave Javonte a screen with 3 linemen in front of him and just 1 linebacker, and Javonte found his way to get tackled by the single linebacker. So
Okay, so we'll see how that goes. I was expecting a little bit more out of Damian Pierce. Looks like Rex Burkhead might be a fantasy name to pay attention to this year.
Rex had 70% of snaps. That's a little puzzling. The other one, big question mark for Jim, is Ayuk. Seems nice as a second receiver on what was thought to be a good team, but Trey Lance is not the fucking truth. That guy sucks.
I mean, they were in a torrential downpour, right? So I think see what it looks like in it.
They lost to the Bears. The Bears over under for win total is either 4.5 or 5.5, and they lost to the Bears. That's
I don't want to get too hyped up about that game, Wally, because that field was so poor that even like offense production and like that game got turned on its head as far as game plan. So let's wait to see what
you should be
hyped.
Look like. You should be hyped about that. You're a fucking Bears fan.
Oh, okay, Wally. Next game, please, Griffey.
Okay, but also if Trey Lance is bad enough, we'll see Jimmy G back in there, and so
that's
that
true.
Kind of caps Ayuk's floor a little bit.
Why am I taking a ricochet shot there? What the fuck, Wally?
He let you have it, huh?
You're a Cubs fan, so I had to.
We
get
exist.
a shot in.
We exist. Cubs, Packers fans exist, and I won't let anyone shit on me, and especially not you.
My acquisition this week, due to George Kittle being out, was Alex O. There. I don't know. Is Alex his first name? I can't even remember my tight end's name now anymore. Albert. Thank you. Albert
catch onto the 1-inch line there.
Yeah, so I'm not happy about that. I was
fumble. Javonte fumble from the 1. Oh my gosh.
Melvin Gordon season. Fired up.
Season, baby.
I was debating between Gerald Everett and Albert O, and it looks like Gerald Everett could be a legitimate option, and I hate to say it live on air because he's on the waiver wire. Somebody might go grab him here, but he looks like a reasonable option for the Chargers.
Yeah. They're going to use a tight end, and they're going to pass the ball a fuckload. So that
Jared
wouldn't be
Cook
terrible.
was pretty dusty last year and still put up decent numbers. Gerald Everett's clearly, a better athlete than he is. We already have done-chained Kellen, but it would be a real shame if DK Metcalf had a 50-yard touchdown to turn the tables against me here.
It ain't happening. You're fine.
Gino's struggling?
No, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Gino started the game 15-16 for 2 tuds. So
what are they throwing to DK Metcalf? How does he have 7 receptions for 36 yards? That's not an impressive average depth of target there.
You know what? Actually, that's good for you, right? Like if they're already using him intermediate range, you gotta expect things open up for him later in the season. Defenses are gonna have to account for him running short stuff where Lockett and other guys in previous years like were getting those targets, and now for him to see all that offense, like that's perfect for you. Or for whoever has DK Metcalf.
Kellen has him, so I'm rooting against him tonight.
Sure. Well, yeah, Kellen's dead to us, but
well, I think that's all
pick.
our recap for this past week. But
So I am matched up against Ben J. So I was just talking shit about him, and I was just talking shit about Trey Lance. So, I'm probably gonna get shit on by Trey Lance.
that would be turnabout's fair play there. Who do the Niners play next week?
They are
Seattle.
Yep.
Okay, so it could be a bounce back performance for Trey Lance there. It seems like Ben must have been pretty high on him. He didn't, get him with a steal or anything. He kind of went out and grabbed him. I think he went before I had the chance to take the GOAT Tom Brady by quite a bit. We'll see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, he'll probably be okay. Rashad Penny for a little bit there. The other thing that we forgot to mention for Ben J, Jahan Dotson kind of balled out and got a ton of snaps, ton of targets, and 2 tutties for the.
And he was drafted super highly, right? He was like a mid-first round pick.
Yep, before Traylon Burks too. So they must have really liked him, and they're using him.
Did Ben play him in week 1?
I don't think so, but it's showing his lineup now. So
He's got his lineup set. He's thinking about you already this week, Wally.
Yep, and I mean his team's just solid. Edwards-Helaire with 2 touchdowns receiving. Not sure if that type of thing continues.
Did you guys
But
see
we'll
any
see.
Isaiah Pacheco, my boy on the bench there? He got some garbage time carries, but he looked really good. 7th rounder out of Rutgers.
Yep, I did see that. I don't know how realistic it is for him to be getting tons of snaps just early on in the year, but potentially later.
He's coming for that job for CEH? No, I don't know if that's true, but I would love to see it happen. Yeah, I think it's tough to pick against you when I just saw the output that Jonathan Taylor had. I was a little bit, I don't want to say I was pouring cold water on him. I obviously, I took him with the 6th pick last year, which was higher than he was projected a lot of places. So I like the guy. I thought there was a lot of opportunity last year, and I kind of expected more of the same from him this year. That said, I just thought the ceiling for CMC was so much higher, but we didn't see that play out at all week 1. It looks like, it made a lot of sense for you to go with JT. Kind of in that first round pick, what you don't want is a bust, right? And the potential for JT to bust, barring an injury, seems pretty darn low. So it's nice to just have a solid 20, 22 points you can bank just about every week.
Yeah, I may or may not have done a mock draft where I had the number 1 pick, so I kind of got to see what the next 2 picks would look like. I know Derek said no one does mocks, but I could have cheated. So that was my reasoning behind picking Taylor, because it's just 20 touches. That's it. He has to get 20 touches. I mean, if he doesn't get 30 touches, they can't beat the fucking Texans.
I think I did about 100 to 150 simulated mock drafts.
That's just pushing it.
And the problem with the mock drafts that I kept doing was they went with the chalk on ESPN drafts. I mean, with a little bit of variation, but it caused me to miss out on, some of the guys that I was really hoping to target that were, quickly skyrocketing off people's draft boards. So an AJ Dillon, ESPN had rated way too low, and I thought I could wait an extra round. I was sitting at that, 12, 13 spot, so it's a long way before you get to draft again. So I lost some players that I was hoping for that way. So mock drafts overrated. Maybe not rated very well by anyone in the league, though. So with good reason, perhaps. Schmity, let's look at your matchup in the coming week here. Looks like you're playing
it's a layup.
the dun-chained Kellen Pearson here.
Yeah, this will go exactly as all three of us are predicting. I'll just speak for you two as well. I will win, and it shouldn't be that much of a struggle. I,
Yeah, I don't
he's
see.
gonna have to sit. I mean, the issue now is for Kellen. Like, you have to sit Cam Akers. So who do you input for Cam Akers? AJ Dillon played well, so he'll be able to move AJ Dillon into his second RB spot. And then, but it's just like you don't want to find yourself in that.
Was he going to
position
have
already.
to play Devonta Smith in? Is it Devonta or Devontae Smith in his flex? And that guy had a 0 spot last week. That doesn't feel real good. James Cook, his running back, had negative points. He picked up Dontrell Hilliard and dropped Christian Watson. And Hilliard actually
looks
found
good.
the end zone, so that might be an option there. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle there, just finding a guy that's reasonable to play, let alone get a victory for Kellen.
Yeah, his team's just a bunch of turds, and then Jamar Chase.
Oh,
Dylan.
Some
Dylan
decent
too.
players, like DK and Amari Cooper, that just find themselves in pretty bad situations.
Yeah, situations matter though. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
So Jamar Chase goes for 250 and 4 against Dallas, then Kellen can maybe win.
Another
what it
problem
boils down
for
to.
Kellen is that Schmitty's team looks pretty good too. Yeah, I mean, he had a solid week without DJ Moore showing up, and with Justin Herbert being fairly pedestrian. You sticking with Breece Hall in the flex there, you think, in week 2?
I think I will. I don't see any reason to get away from that just yet. My bench isn't very deep, so it's there's not really any other options right now other than Breece. So maybe Damian Harris, but I mean I'm gonna win anyway next week. So it's just let's keep the guys who I picked early in the lineup, and if things change, then we gotta start making some audibles.
How about in the Screeds versus the Beta Boy himself, who didn't join us on the Packers pod this evening?
ESPN has it really close next week. I like Larson's team. I think Larson's team is really good, man. He just ran into the buzzsaw that is Wally. So, and I fucking hate Screeds. So, my allegiance is to Larson on this one.
I
taking
don't
the-
think Nick's team is good. I think Josh Allen is really good.
See, I really like Allen, Kamara, Elliott, Debo, and Waller.
Gibson
Kirk.
against
I'm high on-
Detroit.
He gets Gibson. All those guys make sense to me. He in the draft, he made the correct choices. I didn't hate. Okay, Thielen, sure, but we can continue to bag on him there.
Dude, I
But
don't
other than
like
that,
Debo at all. I don't like Debo.
See, and I don't know why, because he's just he gets a share. We're a little bit thrown off just with how bad it looked in Chicago.
Okay,
but I
maybe
think that
this
turns
is
around.
is a tough week to say this because he found the end zone running again, and Elijah Mitchell is out. But he has to score 8 touchdowns on 59 carries like he did last year to pay off his ADP, and he's not gonna have significant pass game usage because they aren't gonna pass the ball in the first place. So I just think it's a tough road to be in a top 5 wide receiver for Debo. Could he be a top 20 guy? Yeah, he will be, but that's just a lot to
That's
put on
true.
his shoulders.
And
Kamara was
what-
very concerning.
That's what I'm seeing here. Q next to his name. What actually happened there? Because I did not see any of that game on the red zone at all. Did they just not use him, or is he hurt?
I think it was a usage thing, but I wasn't aware that he was hurt. Some of the things that I saw that were concerning to me in his usage was he had the most pass plays where he stayed in to block in the history of his career, and obviously new coaching staff and so forth. So in their first game with him, to use him in that way rather than getting him out on routes when they're passing the ball was concerning for his usage. And then he just didn't get that many carries.
Yeah. How
But
about
yeah,
the
I didn't realize he was
ultimate-
hurt, so maybe that played a role. I wasn't aware of that during
coulda.
the game.
I did see the ultimate beta boy, Taysom Hill, have like 50 yards rushing and a touchdown.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
scampered in for one.
Just shoot him. Get him out of here. Like, no one likes him. I don't even know if like his 12 siblings and 8 wives even like him. Dude's
I
just
can't
a
wait till
fucking
he
showed.
goes back to quarterback so I can play a quarterback at tight end. That would be the dream.
Yeah. He's
Who's
done
your
with that
take
guy.
in this one? I think I'm going to take...
I'm taking Larson.
I'm taking Screeds, even though we didn't talk about him at all. I love A.J. Brown. Chris Godwin is out. Mike Evans is going to be a fantasy stud. Cortland Sutton, solid. I think McCaffrey gets used. Like, is that a crazy assumption to make? Like, they have to use the guy, right?
They should.
Yeah, no, I'm dogging on Screeds, but Screeds actually has a nice team. Like we talked about the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown stack last week, and I think that's very good. Like if you got into that, like those were the two guys to own. So Screeds did right by his team by doing that, and it very well could. I mean, it could be the second best stack behind Allen and fuck, I can't think of his name.
Diggs
and Stephon Diggs. So good on Screeds. Screeds has a good team. I think this actually will be the game of the week.
Game of the week. Awesome. Who you taking?
I'm still gonna give the edge to Larson, but it's close.
Okay.
Yep. I got Larson too.
We got Krumrei and Cheeseburger Denier. I think, based on our reaction to Ben's weekend team, it's not going to be surprising to hear a lot of us take Ben. Something that could save Ben is if J.K. Dobbins suddenly comes back and averages like 6 yards a carry like he did before the ACL, but that's a lot to ask for. And if that doesn't happen, with Dak Prescott being out, Marvin Jones being really bad, and the rest of his running backs looking questionable, could be a long year for Ben.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Derek had a rough week in terms of Aaron Jones ownership. I don't know what we were doing. He only got the ball like 8 times, so that's going to go up against Chicago. That is like, I think Derek's team's just flat out better than the 7.2 line that ESPN's given him.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think we are going to be writing off Ben next week. I think we're going to be able to hang the dun chain on him. His team's poor, and I'm going to go with Derek for this matchup. I like Derek's team just a lot more than Ben's. Tony Pollard as your running back 1 just is atrocious.
Oh, he's got Etienne, I guess, who potentially should have scored a touchdown.
Oh,
Either way, it's disgusting.
His team is it's going to provide a bunch of headaches as an owner on deciding who to start and who to sit each week. So I think we get to set him a sail next week. Look forward to it.
To top that all off, Kyler is so hateable too. So I'm not going to be even rooting for Ben because I just hate Kyler.
Switching over, I got ahead of myself just a bit here looking at my game. Who did Jim start this past week at his RB2? Seeing that information.
High school friend, Minnesota Psycho. I'm not even sure.
Because I was thinking he had Darrell Henderson on
Javonte.
his bench. Yeah, Javonte.
Javonte. He slipped Lazard in and then did some shuffling with Henderson as well.
Yeah, now he's got Javonte in his flex. Jim's team, I hate to say it, I'm a little bit nervous about this matchup. He's looking formidable.
Yeah. Solid team.
Yeah, you got your work cut out for you, Griffey. Not like it's definitely a closer matchup.
I was pleasantly surprised by Chase Edmonds. His usage seemed to be encouraging. He got the lion's share of the carries there in Miami. Obviously, he's going to be a factor in the passing game, but I was nervous that it might be, like a 35-35, 30, what would the math be there? 30 split with, him and Mostert and Gaskin seeing some touches. Gaskin didn't hardly play at all, and Mostert wasn't given the ball very much, so he could actually find himself being like a legitimate RB2. The stat line didn't look great for him, but the usage did, so we'll see how that plays out. I am really counting on Tom Brady to be Tom Brady that he was last year, right? That would be huge for my team. Maybe a bit much to ask of the 45-year-old.
Yeah, your other big issue, you have kicker issues. You see the safety for the Chiefs kicking random extra points. So
Well,
you gotta get rid of
fortunately,
Butker already.
Butker came back, which was encouraging. So he hit like a 50-yarder after he went out. So,
Okay, so you're safe there.
but I did see Eric Reed pop up on my fantasy cast. Is like, missed extra point Eric Reed, and like immediately I thought, oh no, I just lost, an automatic like 10-point difference based on the
Yep.
kicker. Like this is going to be an uphill battle.
Yep. I'm trying to look through this a little bit. I'm taking Jim. I don't know. I don't like Brady against the Saints matchup. They've kind of cooked him for a while.
They really have.
I like Mike Williams to have a really big week on Thursday, and I'm going to give the edge to Griffey. It looks like our friend Nathaniel Hackett has already benched Javonte Williams for eternity, and Melvin Gordon's getting all the touches. So,
Oh, really?
give me Griffey.
Awesome. I think I'm going to go with Jim in this matchup. I just seem to usually lose to him. He's beat me in the playoffs. He's beat me in the regular season. He's beat me here. He's beat me there. He's kind of beat me everywhere. At least that's my recollection. Maybe I'm just, overcompensating for how gross his championship win was last year and just feel like all he does is win when it matters. But I'm going to pick against myself. And hoping, mostly that'll just give me enough karma to get over the line. But is Kittle going to play next week is a big question for me. I don't really want to trot Albert O out there again.
We'll see. His groin might be a couple weeks to rest.
Yeah. It seemed like he was close this week, but then again, like, are the Niners even going to pass the ball? Doesn't seem likely, so.
No, that's a fair point.
Awesome. Well, any other takes for our dedicated, loyal listeners? Any code words to check attendance here at this point?
We got the gross game of the week. Kirk's injured ragtag bunch and tripods. I don't know what you
For
call
tight
them.
end apparatus.
For tight end
Yeah.
build. Apparatus. That is a good word for it. Oh, how did we sneak over that one?
Well, because Kirk doesn't have a quarterback, he's favored to lose or projected to lose by 27.9. And Mitchell's in his lineup still. So, tough to judge that. I'm still taking Kirk's team. Najee's hurt. Montgomery sucks. I thought he was good, but they just don't like him if Herbert's getting carries already.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Herbert looked really good in spots last year. I've been impressed with Montgomery over the course of his career too. But it seems like in the modern NFL, to me, like, I don't know why they wouldn't use them both to some degree, but that's not something Montgomery owners want to hear.
Correct. And I mean, tripod seems not like a pushover. I just don't like any of the players, except for Lamar. Who can win a week? I don't know.
Yeah,
what to
he
think
can do
about
that by himself.
The Tyreek thing.
Can he just feed Rashad Bateman for me? I would really appreciate that.
Probably not. It's gonna-
Give
Not great
me
arm.
Kirk in this matchup. Kirk will find someone serviceable in the wire. There's plenty of quarterbacks you can go after. So
He's going to be busy, being a father. He's not going to be scouring the waiver wire.
really, except with guys like Jameis out there.
No,
He'll be just fine.
I'm teasing. He'll find something. But Carson Wentz or Jameis? What do you think?
I think Kirk, Jameis is just a little too out there for him, and he'll decide to go with Tannehill.
Oh, okay. I like that. I've dropped and added Jameis like 5 times already this year. I was just like wanted a backup quarterback because Tom Brady's 45, but I kept taking random flyers on running backs and receivers. So now I swapped Christian Watson for him after I saw Kellen drop him and that Lazard was out, and it almost came into perfect fruition there when they throw the 75-yard bomb to Christian Watson, and then he, of course, lets it slip through his fingertips. Did you guys freak out pretty good at the TV when you saw this one?
Yep. Half of Wisconsin was about to buy number 9 jersey, and now every person in a bar north of Highway 8 wants to kill that racial slur.
So Derek and I were at the game,
That's the
right?
most outrageous swing in one play of a career.
Derek and I were at the game, and that play was coming at us. Watson was running down the sideline towards us, and both him and I had no emotion. We knew that was questionable at best. Watson was his striding was so off. It did not look natural. He knew that because that was the play, right? Everyone knew going into the game they were going to call that, and he had to beat Patrick Peterson, which
he beat him so
dusty
bad.
old fuck. He beat him so bad, and all he had to do was catch the ball, and he just wasn't running correctly, and sure enough, fucking
He does
dropped it.
kind of have a baby giraffe sort of a thing going on. Wait, I don't know if it's long legs, but
that's what Rogers calls him. Rogers has donned him the baby giraffe.
well, yeah, because I thought he, that was also who's our Bakhtiari's nickname? Wasn't he something like that too?
He's the big giraffe.
Yeah, it seems stranger for Bakhtiari to be a giraffe. He's got more of a hippo, aesthetic to me. But whatever it takes. But Watson looks like the baby giraffe as far as I'm concerned.
We're gonna turn it around. See you week 3. Packers win by 1 billion. Everyone rejoice.
Awesome. Well, any closing thoughts for our, like we said, our dedicated listeners out there? Code words or the like?
I think by the end of next week we'll have 1, 2, possibly 3 teams that are undefeated and 3 that are winless. And there'll be a big gap already.
Code word sentence is WAP set sail to Dunchain Town.
To Dunchain Town. Okay, I like it. We're going to have to mix that in somewhere in the middle next time so people aren't, fast forwarding towards the end here. But thanks, guys, for joining me here. Appreciate it. We got a little editing out in post to do, but we'll make it happen.
All right.
Love you guys.
See you next week, guys.
Take care.